Hey everyone, Darren Lake here, your co-host along with Mr. Phil Cross.
Hi guys.
For a new podcast project called The Master of Some. Health and fitness are a huge part of a lot of people's lives, especially as we get older, and we realize that it can set the precedence for a lot of other areas in most people's lives. Areas like career, relationship, finance, etc.
The reason we're doing this project, or one of the reasons we're doing this project, is we want this to be a dialogue. We want to open communication with all you guys and hear what you think about these topics. This isn't just us getting on a mic and spitting out our random thoughts. We want this to be a conversation. And what you're going to hear is just a short teaser. It's a few minutes from episode 1 to give you a bit of a flavour, and hopefully you like what you hear. So without further ado, episode 1.
Welcome to the Master of Some podcast. It's a play on the age-old saying, jack of all trades, master of, and yeah, you get it. You're smart, and that's why we should be a good fit. I'd like to say I'm a master of a few things as well as Phil, who I'll get into in a second. This podcast is a new journey where we dive deep into the world of fitness and health and how it relates to everyday life. We, meaning my good friend and co-host Phil Cross. Fitness, health, and nutrition have become our foundation for life, and we're on a quest to preach the gospel of what we've learned, experienced, and are learning to anyone out there that wants to listen. Phil and I want this to be a two-way conversation, so please make sure to subscribe, rate, and comment, and hit us up on all the social media platforms with any questions, comments, or whatever you might have. We want to hear it all. Oh, and tell a friend about this. Flick them a link, because if we are a good fit, I promise you will get value out of this. I'll stop my babbling so we can get into it. All right, we're here. Master of Some, episode 0 unofficially, episode 1 on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast, whatever podcatchers you have. Right now you're hearing the sounds of Darren Lake, myself, and we've got Phil Cross.
Hello.
He's obviously English. I'm obviously American. We met via my girlfriend and the fact that you are a frugal dude. And she was flicking out some free stuff on Bicycle Market, which is a huge marketplace on Facebook.
We met via me being a cheapskate, cheap Northern Englishman.
Frugal. I am the frugalist. I am the most frugal also, and borderline cheap. And yeah, she was just giving away some free stuff, and you picked it up, and I remember I went, oh, that dude's cool. And then she ended up riding with you a couple times with the triathlon group that she was a part of, and she said, Phil, you were coaching that group. She said Phil ran it very well. He was very vocal, very clear, and I went, this dude's cool. And then we finally got to meet, and we ended up talking the whole damn wedding, which was kind of cool and kind of rude, but
kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, but whatever. That's how we roll. So yeah, this podcast, as I told you early on, it's about a lot of different shit, but it all comes back down to the core, which is fitness and health. And it's basically a big meta analogy of sorts of how we live our life, the ethos and fundamentals and philosophies that we have. And they all can basically be related to training for an event or doing an event or, going through an event that has an endurance element to it, an active, athletic, competitive type element to it.
Yeah. Well, I think with an awareness and an understanding that any athletic endeavor that we go through doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen in isolation. It happens as part of life, and that how we live, the beliefs we hold, the attitudes we hold, the relationships we have, all play heavily into our performance as well from an athletic standpoint. So it's going to go in some interesting directions. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, same. And funny enough, we this first episode is about goal setting, or as I like to say, objective setting. But the way everyone lives their life and the way that the people that we look up to and the people that, you know, we strive to be, they all set proper objectives. They're clear in their objectives. They're also, you know, very schedule and plan focused and oriented, and it's not magic. You know, like a lot of people,
it's not the secret.
Yeah, they look at successful people and go, "Oh, you got lucky," et cetera, et cetera. And if you're listening, if you're hanging on to this, I'm pretty sure you don't fully subscribe to that. You know that there's a bit more grit and you know, elbow grease that goes into being successful, and it really is the day in and day out. It's the Tuesdays, it's the Wednesdays, it's the 10 a.m.s. It's not the awesome Saturday parties. That's an analogy, by the way. It is just waking up, doing the same thing day in and day out, and really knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it, having a strong why, which we'll get to. But before we jump into goal setting, because this is a podcast about objective goal setting, but this first podcast is about objective goal setting, which becomes super meta, like an exhibit meme, and
it's meta on meta.
It's meta on meta, and then learning. There's the meta side of learning.
Yeah, and goal setting being a meta skill, and you know, anything you want to strive towards, anything you want to achieve, any objectives or you know, ambitions you have in life, systems, processes, and a strong ethos around setting goals, keeping yourself accountable, and following up is going to be fundamental to making that happen. So, going back to the theme of Master of Some, or one of the themes of Master of Some, if you're trying to master something, then this is a foundational skill. It's a meta skill that applies across all areas of life. So, yep, it's meta on meta on meta with a side of meta.
I just keep thinking of exhibit memes. It's like, yo, dog, I heard you like meta. Well, inside your meta, so I'm going to give you some meta. I just ruined it.
So that was it. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on social media. If you hate what you heard, you can let us know why at talksomeshit@themasterofsome.com. Bit of a long email address, but we're sticking to it.
So hit us where you can. Hit us on the socials and subscribe, rate, and comment, and get those alerts. Turn the notifications on. We usually don't recommend notifications on your phone because those are distractions, but you need to get those sods and those eps. Is that a cool thing to say? I'm gonna shorten it. Is it?
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
I can't. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna own it.